You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we have finally reached the point that we have been dreaming about for weeks. We are starting our World Cup previews. On this episode, we'll be starting with the Netherlands. Then we will be going to Afghanistan before we finish off with the Kiwis in New Zealand. I'm Jack Hope, and I'm joined by Max Rowe-Brown. How are you doing, Max Rowe-Brown? Do you think it was a good decision to pie off the India v Australia series and skip ahead a week and a half straight to the World Cup?
Yes, I do, because we used that time really well. We just spent the last half an hour playing around with colours for our background. So let's hope everyone enjoys the fact that we're now surrounded by radiant orange in honour of the Dutch. Yeah,
I think it's quite the statement I'm making. I'm wearing a Lahore Calanders shirt.
Is that what that is?
Not. Yeah, it
I thought
is.
It was
yeah,
a cycling top.
No, it's the Calanders. I hear. Look, I'll stand up really briefly.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
can see the city of Lahore mapped out. It's a top shirt. You can, if you're an audio only listener, check out our YouTube and subscribe while you're there to get a better look. But obviously, going with Lahore Calanders and deciding not to talk about India is an extremely controversial move. So apologies for that. Although I will say Ashwin did bowl well, and it was quite funny when David Warner batted right-handed, then switched to batting left-handed mid-ball, hit the ball, it hit his pad, and he was out OBW and he didn't bother reviewing it. That was a really top quality passage of play in what's been an absolute tour de force from India so far.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there you go. We got some India news in, and we will soon move on to the Netherlands. But before we do, Max, we should tell people that we will be doing all 10 teams in the tournament. We're not just going to stop at New Zealand. There'll be probably 3 audio episodes that go out over the next 12 days leading up to the tournament. Each of those audio episodes will be divided up into multiple videos that you can catch on our channels, and there'll be shorts and stuff as well. So make sure you head over, as I said, to YouTube to get involved there, or TikTok if you want to just catch the shorts. We're on TikTok too. We're hip. We're with the times. And obviously, if you're listening to this,
Reels?
Exactly, yeah. If you're listening to this on YouTube and you think, hey, I want to get ahead of the game and hear more preview action, we put the whole show out early there. So, go everywhere and review us. That's the other thing I meant to say. We need some more reviews. That's the name of the game for this World Cup. It's to increase the number of 5-star reviews that we get from our listeners. Yep. Max,
go and click everything.
We're going to start with the Netherlands, and we're going to do this with a relatively consistent format, aren't we? Mm-hmm. We're going to run through all teams this way. We're going to talk about their coach, their captain. We're going to talk about their kit. We're going to give them a national animal. We're going to talk strengths, weaknesses, potential 11s, their road to the World Cup, which will probably actually come a little bit earlier in the story. And we'll finish off with kind of some predictions about where we think that team will finish. Quite a lot to get through, so we should make a start. The Netherlands, are you ready to go?
I'm ready. The Netherlands, yes, the Orange Boys, and well, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's hope it's a lot of fun. Their road. We'll start with the road to the World Cup, shall we? That seems like a good place to start. Chronological. You might have forgotten all the drama, all the excitement back in June when they were in the Cricket World Cup qualifier with the likes of the West Indies, Sri Lanka. It was in Zimbabwe, of course. Ireland were there. Scotland pressing the case, putting the pressure on, but just missing out. All a bit Spursy from them. But the Netherlands, they managed to make it through to the World Cup proper by winning their half of the draw and getting to a final meaningless playoff against Sri Lanka, which they got absolutely trounced in, but also changed all their team up because I assume they were all really hungover. I would be if I just won the game to get into the World Cup and
had a few too many Aranja booms.
Exactly. So it was there that they made their way and found their qualification, but along the way, of course, we lost West Indies, and part of the reason we lost the West Indies was because the Netherlands beat them. And do you remember what happened, Jack, when the Netherlands played the West Indies?
It is one of the highest chases in the history of ODI cricket. They I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was in the 370s. They got there. I think it was actually a tie, wasn't it? Was
Yeah,
it Baz the
it was a
leader who went
tie.
ballistic? Then in the super over, if I'm not mistaken, it went 6-4, 6-4, 6-4, and Netherlands posted 30 to win.
Yeah, Logan van Beek scored 30 in the super over, a record, obviously. And in reply, West Indies 8 for 2. That's a pretty comprehensive margin of victory in a 50 over game, let alone a 6-ball tiebreaker. So that's how they got there, and they made a lot of fans along the way with that. Kit wise, I mean, we don't need to tell you, do we? It's orange. There's a little bit of blue in there.
It's a great kit. It's a great kit.
Of course, it's a great kit. They've got orange bucket hats as well. Don't know if you've seen those. They've been rocking the orange kit with orange bucket hats. What's not to like, eh? That's good stuff.
I mean, just a plea to anyone at Netherlands Cricket. If you want to send us a bucket hat, I'd happily wear one on the podcast. I don't know how
I'll wear it for the whole
exactly.
tournament.
I don't know how it works exactly with the old cans, but yeah, maybe I'll have to do buds.
We'll have to buy on the podcast some some Bluetooth headphones that can attach to the Bluetooth earbuds for the computer. I think that's the only way around it. Maybe they could send that with them. They could send us the orange bucket hats and the headphones that will allow us to wear them.
And if they were orange, it'd be really good.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Carry on.
Anyway, yes. So we'll get some of the cricket now. I suppose we've done the kit. We've done the World Cup. So we're talking squads and potential 11s. They are captained by Scott Edwards and coached by Ryan Cook, who's worked previously with the Hobart Hurricanes and South Africa under 19s, and as a fielding coach for Bangladesh, I believe. He's been in the job for a little while, but obviously it's the team we want to hear about. And there's a few bits of news, I suppose, in terms of changes since the squad they put out in the qualifiers. So in come Roelof van der Merwe, Colin Ackerman, and Paul van Meekeren, who were all there since the qualifiers, which is quite a lot of experience, certainly from the English county circuit. That should make them a fair bit stronger than the side they had. The big miss for them injury wise is Fred Klaassen, the left arm pacer, is injured with a stress fracture, so he can't make it. So that's a shame for them. But I mean, a lot of the time that we've seen the Netherlands play, I'm thinking like the England series earlier in the year when England posted the world record score and everyone was like, what's the point of this? I mean, half of their best players weren't there because they were playing county cricket and stuff. So you don't often get to see Netherlands in their full glory, I suppose. So this will be an opportunity, I think. So I'll run through what I think will be their 11. It's not that easy because, you know, it's a little bit different from the qualifiers. They've got some people coming back, and you know, with the best will in the world, I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of Netherlands cricket, but I've done my research and I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
So opening partnership, I think that's pretty sound. It's going to be Vikram Singh and Max O'Dowd. They've been doing the job for a while, and they're old hat in that job. Number 3. I'm going Brazy's probably the one who's going to stick around. He's 39 now, but he was doing the number 3 slot in the qualifiers. Then we've got Colin Ackerman in from that squad. Well, not from that squad, newly in the squad. Baz the leader, the all-rounder, who had an absolute day out against Scotland in the qualifiers, 5 for and bashed 100. Incredible from him. Scott Edwards, then Roelof van der Merwe it's got to play, really. Logan van Beek, Zulfikar, Paul van Meekeren, and Ryan Klein, I think, rounding it off. There could be a few changes depending on conditions, bringing in an extra spinner, but that's what I think the basis will be. I don't know if you have any thoughts, whether you disagree with any of that, Jack.
I mean, I think it's hard to say, and I'd expect they'll chop it and change it a little through the tournament as well. I think in their squad as a whole, they have the potential. They're actually carrying a few spinners, so I think they have the potential to go a little bit spin heavy, which might be something that they consider depending on the pitches as we move through the tournament. That I mean, on the one hand, that's sort of an advantage for them. I think that's where they'll have some problems with the bat, though. So they're probably half thinking it would be nice if it span a lot, but on the other hand, thinking it'd be nice if the pitches were kind of not. Yeah.
That's a very perceptive point, Jack, because under the strengths column, which is where we'll go next, the spin heavy is a point that I've drawn out. One of the things I think is they've got quite a bit of, for an associate nation, they've got quite a bit of experience in terms of white ball cricket from the English county game. I mentioned like Colin Ackerman's been around for ages. I mean, Scott Edwards he's not in the county game, but he's very experienced, been around for a while. And Van der Merwe was the top wicket taker in the SA20. So, I mean, they've got pedigree. They've got players with pedigree in that side. And like you said, they could go really spin heavy. So, I mean, Van der Merwe and Zulfikar are the guys that put in the starting 11, but Singh can throw down some overs. Colin Ackerman can bowl some off spin. And then they've got Aryan Dutt and Shariz Ahmed also in the squad. So you're looking at like 6, and Nida Manuru as well, who played in the qualifying competition, can also bowl. So you're looking at 7 guys who can throw down some spin, which is it could really tie people down in the middle overs. That could be a good tactic for them to follow. But the flip side of that, you mentioned the batting. That's one. I mean, they're an associate nation, and always the case. The batting, often when it comes up against some of the big boys, can suffer a bit. But the other interesting is the pace depth. They've only brought 4 pace bowlers with them. Like, not having Fred Klaarsen's an issue, but Brian Klein, Van Meekeren, Van Beek, and Bas de Leader, basically that's their pace option. So you're thinking if one of them falls over, that's going to be a problem. And if the pitches don't spin that much, that's also going to be a problem. So they're playing with fire a little bit there, possibly a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, I would suspect. I don't know this for sure, but I would suspect that that's probably all they can bring in terms of the players that are up to the quality of the tournament, really. So that is the limitation of Netherlands cricket, right? There are probably 11 guys that are really, really good enough, maybe not even 11 to play in this World Cup. And then there's some more that might be able to fill a role at a push. And then outside of that, Dutch domestic cricket, not chocked full of guys with international experience. No. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I think it's a fantastic achievement that they are at the World Cup, and I'm really looking forward to watching them play. And I think they have got a few really talented individuals in that side. That chase against the West Indies, like that was a do or die game for the West Indies. That wasn't like a muckabout cricket match. That was serious business under pressure. Playing for, I wouldn't maybe go as far as the future of Netherlands cricket, but certainly that kind of victory is what can push a smaller nation's cricket forward. Like, that means a lot more to winning a game like that means a lot to the Netherlands. It was massive.
It shows that they deserve a place.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why the qualifiers are so good as well. As a slight tangent there. I think it will be quite good fun. I don't really expect them to do that well, if I'm honest, Max. I was looking at some of the numbers in a little bit more detail.
The flip side of only having 4 paces is they probably don't have to worry about longevity into the semi-finals.
Well, and they might as well go out there and do it every day. And like, if you're England, or you're India, or Australia, your 5th and 6th pacers are still pretty good. Like the Netherlands 5th and 6th pacers, and this is a succinct way of making the broader point I was making, aren't going to do anything. So you might as well have a slightly tired bowler out there. Like, it's the slightly tired guy who actually is capable of bowling 85 miles an hour is going to be better than the fresh guy who bowls 75 and sprays it. It is what it is. But doesn't mean they don't deserve to be at the tournament if they do get smacked around in a game or two.
Not at all. Yeah. So I mean, chances obviously quite limited. So they're going to be looking to turn up and win. They'll want to win a game or two. They'll be eyeing up the likes of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, probably, with some of the injury problems that they may have as people that they could take down. But, they might trade wins against all of them to take down one of the big guys. It wouldn't be the first time that they would have beaten England in a World Cup if they do so. That's that would be amazing, wouldn't it? If they could do something like that. Again, I want to be bold, and I want to say they won't finish bottom. I struggle with logic and reasoning to say that won't be the case, though. But I really want them to not finish bottom. It would be really nice for them to come away with something. But I mean, even just a win or two would be amazing, and that's got to be the target, I suppose.
So I think that's probably unlikely to happen for most of the reasons that you could give. I think they're kind of handy, actually, in the power play. With the ball, and they're not too bad with the bat. Like they're actually kind of near the middle of the pack with that. And then with bat and ball, they drop off massively after the 10 over mark. So they are by a distance the worst bowling team in terms of wickets taken in the middle overs in the tournament. And so they actually go from top 3 with the new ball to outright worst. After the 10th over, and that extends through to the 40th, and then at the death they get hit about a little bit as well. So I think we mentioned that spin approach. Maybe if the pitches are really helpful, that balances things out a little bit for them. But I think we can expect probably that they're gonna struggle through big quantities of this tournament. I think the other thing is, and this is sort of really no fault of theirs as well. There's just not that much experience playing high-level international ODI cricket. They've played probably more meaningful cricket, so I don't know if that will balance out. Like they have played games for their lives, as we were sort of saying, but they literally, the Netherlands Cricket Board put out a begging tweet on Twitter asking for nations to play them in the run up to the World Cup, because they know they really don't know how they're going to go against some of these teams.
I don't think anyone responded though, did they?
No, yeah, and I think they're going to be exposed. It was very mean. They're going to be exposed to a few things that when we have seen them exposed to it in the past, they've not necessarily stood up to. So I think really high quality spin bowling is going to be trouble for them. I think particularly players like, I'm picking top shelf here, but Kuldeep, Adam Zampa, Hasaranga, if he goes, I think could be a real handful for this lineup. And I think anyone who bowls quite quickly as well, probably not as much of a challenge, but I think it will be a bit of a challenge.
It'll be, it might not be a case of someone who bowls 90 miles an hour will run through the lineup in 5 minutes, but they'll struggle to score. And that'll be obviously where they can't quite keep things going. But obviously it's really difficult. They're flying the flag for the associates, and
I think going to be realistically. Yeah, realistically, they should be thinking, how do we win a game? Like we've got 3 matches: Afghanistan, Sri Lanka. I think if Hasaranga is injured, and we don't know that, their squad hasn't been announced yet, which sort of threw our plans for this show.
Yep,
around the loop. And Bangladesh are potentials, and maybe if one of the bigger teams is having an absolute nightmare, there's a chance. Look, they beat South Africa, didn't they, in the T20 World Cup, and they beat the West Indies, who are not at this World Cup, but are nevertheless a decent team. It's not impossible.
Yeah,
but I think for me, the chances of them winning a game are less than them going 0-9. So I think 0-9 is what my prediction is, which is quite it's harsh, but
it's hard. Well, it's not that harsh, is it? Because it's quite difficult to spring upsets in cricket. It's not like a game of football where you can just stick 10 men behind the ball and hope to catch them on the break.
Yes, yeah.
Cricket's a bit more of a dividing line when it comes to quality. But I think we're agreed they're going to struggle, but we'd like to see a win, wouldn't we?
I think it would be one of the stories of the tournament if they did win. I think it would be absolutely brilliant for cricket in general to have an associate nation who by the design of the tournament really aren't supposed to be here. Like
they broke it.
They've completely crashed the event. It's ripped up all of the best laid plans. They're there, and Zimbabwe, Ireland, West Indies aren't there, and they're there for a reason.
Yeah,
it would be nice if they could cause one more upset. And I do think those 3 games we mentioned, they can target them. And see what they can do.
Yeah.
When do they? Do we know when they play those teams? Just quickly. I don't know if you've done the.
I don't have the fixture list up in front of me. Why don't you look that up while I take you through the national animal?
Oh well, yeah, sure. I've got it up when you're ready.
Yeah. Go for it now.
Well, so they start. It's not an easy start with Pakistan. Then they've got the Netherlands. Then South Africa. 21st of October, I think they've got a chance against the Sri Lanka. 28th, Bangladesh. And then much later in the tournament, Afghanistan on the 3rd of November before they finish with England. And, what are the chances that India would get the worst team in the potentially must-win game with net run rate at stake last? I mean, that's a shock, isn't it?
You're so cynical, Jack. What could you possibly be suggesting? No, that's not ideal. I suppose you'd be thinking maybe Afghanistan, if they're already out by the end, that could be one they could have a go at. Maybe Afghanistan.
The wheels could be well and truly off there, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could be. That's something to look at, and it could be the same by Bangladesh in the middle. Maybe they'll have lost all their games and they'll be in with a shout. But yeah, we will see. But national animals. That's what we're doing now. Not the actual national animal.
So just to preface this, the national animal is an animal from the nation that we have chosen, which best represents the team. Like a spirit animal, a mascot, if you like. I don't even know what the national animal of Holland is officially.
It's a lion, I think.
A lion?
Yeah, like us.
It's got colonialism written all over it, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the national animal. It's the one that they've got the lions on the badge, much like England with their lions. But no, it's not. It's none of that. Like you say, it's the spirit animal, the one that we've chosen. And this Netherlands side, for me, Jack, I think is best represented by the pygmy goat. And there's a few reasons for that. Firstly, it's cool to have around. We've already talked about how happy we are to have the Netherlands in the tournament with their orange. And we like pygmy goats. We like having pygmy goats around too. Maybe they're cool. They're a bit of a novelty. They're the only associate nation there, so they've got that box ticked. And with the way they trot around on the floor, there's every chance they could trip someone up as well. But realistically, they're not going to survive for very long in the wild. So
I think that's fair.
Also,
Netherlands.
if you say Van der Merwe right, it does sound a little bit like a goat call, but just imagine that.
No, you have to do it now.
Van der Merwe.
Very good.
That. Yeah.
Right. Should we wrap up the Netherlands? I've enjoyed that. That's a good way to start. I really wish them the best in this tournament.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.